Admiral Zethkari had spent 300 years studying the art of warfare. His crystalline mind housed the tactical knowledge of a dozen civilizations, each strategy carefully catalogued and cross-referenced. The Vorthak military academies had produced him as their finest specimen, a living weapon of pure intellectual warfare. He stared across the tactical hologram at the human commander, Colonel Sarah Chen, and felt something alien to his species: confusion. "You cannot possibly compute the variables fast enough." Zethkari clicked through his translator, his four arms gesturing at the three-dimensional battlefield display. "My analysis indicates 1.7 million possible fleet configurations. The optimal solution requires 17 minutes to calculate, I know." Chen leaned back in her chair, coffee cup in hand. "I read your dissertation on multi-vector engagement theory. Solid work." The Vorthak admiral's mandibles twitched. 3 centuries of warfare studies, and this mammal had absorbed his life's work like casual reading material. The Galactic War College had insisted on these joint exercises after humanity's recent admission to the Coalition. Most species took millennia to develop combat doctrines sophisticated enough for interstellar warfare. The humans had managed it in less than a century, somehow leapfrogging evolutionary limitations that bound other races. "Shall we begin the simulation?" Zethkari asked. Chen nodded, her eyes already scanning the holographic starfield. The moment the exercise began, Zethkari's mind shifted into calculation mode, processing defensive formations, supply line vulnerabilities, and energy weapon dispersal patterns. 30 seconds later, his flagship exploded. Impossible. Zethkari's translator crackled with electronic distress. "The simulation must be malfunctioning. I hadn't even completed my initial tactical assessment." Chen smiled, an expression that somehow managed to be both apologetic and predatory. "Sorry about that. Want to run it again?" The second simulation lasted 47 seconds. The third 29. By the fourth attempt, Zethkari was questioning the fundamental nature of reality itself. "How?" His voice emerged as a desperate whistle. "You cannot be analyzing the battlefield faster than my neural processors. It is mathematically impossible for organic cognition to—" "I'm not analyzing it," Chen interrupted. "I'm feeling it." The concept didn't translate properly. Zethkari's language had no equivalent for intuitive warfare, no words for decision-making that bypassed conscious thought entirely. "Explain," he demanded. Chen stood and walked to the viewing port, gazing out at the stars. "Your people studied war. Ours lived it. Every human civilization on every continent for thousands of years. We fought with sticks, stones, bronze, iron, gunpowder, aircraft, nuclear weapons. We never stopped." She turned back to face him. "You know what happens when you fight for survival every day for 10,000 years? When every generation passes down combat knowledge not through books but through blood, war stops being something you think about. It becomes something you are." Zethkari processed this information. "You're describing evolutionary adaptation to combat scenarios. Genetic predisposition toward aggressive response patterns." "Partly, but it's more than that." Chen activated another simulation, this one showing historical human conflicts. "Look at these battles. Gettysburg, Stalingrad, Midway, Thermopylae. Notice anything?" The Vorthak admiral studied the data streams. "High casualty rates. Technologically inferior forces achieving victory through illogical tactical decisions, suicide charges against superior firepower. Last stand scenarios with negative survival probability." "Exactly. We don't fight to win. We fight to keep fighting. There's a difference." A new simulation began. Not a training exercise this time, but a historical recreation. The Battle of Thermopylae, where 300 Spartans held off a Persian army of hundreds of thousands. "Your computers would have calculated the odds," Chen continued. 1% chance of victory maximum. Any rational commander would have retreated, regrouped, lived to fight another day. "Obviously," Zethkari agreed. "Tactical withdrawal is—" The Spartans didn't retreat. They died, every single one. And in doing so, they inspired their entire civilization to resist invasion. Their defeat became a victory that echoed through millennia. The hologram shifted to show more scenarios. Bastogne, where surrounded American forces held a crucial crossroads despite hopeless odds. The Alamo, where doomed defenders bought time with their lives. Warsaw, where civilians fought tanks with improvised weapons. "You see patterns," Chen said. "We see instincts. When you encounter a no-win scenario, your mind seeks alternatives. When we encounter the same scenario, our bodies prepare to die fighting. The difference shapes everything that follows. Zethkari's processing cores hummed as he attempted to integrate this concept. Genetic predisposition toward self-destruction cannot be evolutionarily advantageous, isn't it? The individuals die, but the group survives. The behavior spreads. After enough generations, you get humans who can make split-second tactical decisions without conscious thought, who can identify weak points in enemy formations through pattern recognition, so deeply embedded it feels like magic. She gestured at the tactical display, still showing their earlier simulations. I didn't calculate how to beat you, Admiral. I looked at your formation and felt where it wanted to break. 30,000 years of human warfare whispered the answer. The implications staggered Zethkari. His species had produced brilliant military theorists, strategic geniuses who could orchestrate campaigns across light years. But they had also produced individuals who needed time to think, who relied on computation and analysis. Humans had produced something else entirely, a species that could wage war at the speed of thought, guided by instincts honed across millennia of constant conflict. This is why the Coalition fears us, Chen said quietly. Not because we're better warriors, though we might be, but because we're different ones. You study war, we embody it. Outside the viewing port, stars wheeled in their ancient courses, indifferent to the ambitions of the civilizations that moved between them. But something had changed in the galaxy's balance of power. An old species had learned new ways of thinking about warfare, while a young species had been thinking about little else since the dawn of their existence. Admiral Zethkari deactivated the hologram and regarded his human counterpart with something approaching respect. 300 years of study had prepared him for many things. They had not prepared him for humans. Same time tomorrow, Colonel? He asked. Sarah Chen smiled again, that unsettling mixture of warmth and violence. Looking forward to it, Admiral. Maybe you'll last a full minute next time. As she left the tactical chamber, Zethkari remained at the viewing port, contemplating an uncomfortable truth. The galaxy's greatest military minds had spent eons learning the science of war. Humanity had spent eons becoming it.